Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Real Table Talk. It's 5 o'clock and here we are. Yay! As promised. I know we've been away for a couple of weeks. We came back last week Sunday, so anybody who missed that show, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel and you can watch all the latest Real Table Talk interviews. And there's some amazing interviews on there, just like an amazing interview today. Yay! I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be back, guys. Wow. It just seems like we was off for ages. So before I talk about anybody else, let me introduce myself. My name is Leslie O'Connor and I am the founder of Real Table Talk. I am a student, a mature student at Manchester Metropolitan University studying multimedia in journalism. And the reason why Real Table Talk is here is because we want to hear from you. We want to hear your stories. This platform is for you to share your stories with us, to inspire us, to make us grow, to believe in ourselves that we can achieve anything we want to achieve. So please, if you're watching this video, this recording, this show, if you're watching, don't be shy, like it and share it. Share it with somebody else. Thank you so much. And subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will leave the details in the comments. Enough about Leslie O'Connor. It's not about me. It's not about me. This show is about you. And we have got an amazing guest who I am going to invite to talk to us in a few minutes. But first of all, let me introduce you to our beautiful co-host, Marcia Hilton. Please, Marcia, tell our guest about yourself. Welcome.
Hello everyone, I am Marcia Hilton. I'm a certified international coach and I specialise in trauma and emotional resilience after narcissistic abuse and other toxic relationships. I'm also a survivor of narcissistic abuse and I've got over 30 years experience in the healthcare and education industry as an advanced medical practitioner and lecturer, and I'm also the director of Life Inspired Wellness that helps support women finding their way back to themselves with tools and strategies that I help to use to help them transform and work towards their own transformation and healing. So that's me.
Wow. Oh, thank you so much, Marcia. Wow, you do a bit of everything.
I'm doing a bit of everything.
Yeah. Wow, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And also our guests can see, well, our audience can see that we have got a wonderful guest with us today, Sam Leigh, to talk to us all about our finances. Welcome, Sam, and thank you so much. Is it Sam or Samuel?
Samuel. I like Samuel.
I like Samuel. I like Samuel. That's a nice name. Yeah, because I don't like my name to be shortened either. I like my full name, Leslie.
Samuel is good. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you for joining us. It's well appreciated. And the reason why I asked you to join us, Samuel, is because I think at the moment, everybody, well, for myself, I'll talk about myself personally, everybody's going through some sort of financial difficulty, not knowing what to do with their finances or their legacy. So that's the reason why I've approached you to come on this platform to share your wisdom with us all today. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Let me introduce you properly. Let me tell our audience a little bit about yourself before you talk to us today. So Samuel has been an electric mix of jobs, ranging from being a driving instructor to a civil service for 17 years. His career is now strongly rooted in helping people through education and empowering them with the knowledge to help themselves and others. Samuel became a full-time entrepreneur on August the 1st, 2016, and now have the opportunity to serve more people and having a bigger impact in the world. As a financial coach, Samuel's helped people to get out of debt, understand how money works so they stay out of debt, achieve their goals and dreams with a good quality life in the future. Since 2010, Samuel has empowered thousands of families through financial education to become debt-free and financially independent. Wow, Sam, I won't read your full bio because I know we're going to be asking you questions on that bio, but wow, thank you so much. We need to know everything, what you're going to share. We need to know it all. So welcome and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, and really appreciate the kind words. And I think the topic of finance is something nobody likes to talk about, do they? We like to, they say people will talk about their sex life before they talk about their money or what's going wrong with their money. And so for me, it's just really important to be able to get the word out there, educate people, because, you know, we all go to school and we do all sorts of, you know, primary, secondary, university. We never really get taught anything about money.
Finances.
You know, how the banks make money off your money, how the interest rates work, what to do with your money. So for us, being able to teach people and empower them, you know, it's a passion of mine.
Wow.
So I love what I do.
Yeah.
I love what I do.
Oh, no, that's brilliant. So, Sam, what we do on this platform with our audience, if our audience have got any questions, we're going to, me and myself and Marcia is going to ask you questions, but we also interact with the audience as well. So if our audience has any questions, then please leave them in the comments and we will answer all your questions. Okay, so thank you so much, everyone. And let's start. So you love your job. What made you get into this, to be a financial coach?
Oh, that's a long story. And I think I've got from my accent, you know, I wasn't brought up in the UK. I was actually born here I was born in London. My parents were here studying, and they took me back to Nigeria when I was about 5 years old. So I did my primary, secondary, university there, and then came back to the UK in 1993. And I think for me, coming back to the UK was great. The plan was to study, and then I started earning in pounds sterling. And I don't know if anybody else on the call can relate, but when you start earning in pounds from an African country, everybody thinks you're a millionaire. And, you know, they start asking you for this and asking you for that. And, you know, I was helping people sending money back home. But because I was working and making money, the banks kind of offer you more money, don't they? You know, if they see money in your account, then they offer you credit cards and loans. And, you know, I had a store card that was the bane of my life for years. Just I could never pay it off. It just kept on going up all the time. And I think for me, I took everything going. You know, all the credit cards going, all the loans, I took everything. I traveled. I think the challenge came when they started asking me for the money back. You know, like I always say to people, I didn't really know. I just thought they were giving me all this money. I didn't really understand how it would get paid back or whether they would want the money back. It seemed like free money.
Sorry, Sam, sorry to interrupt. Yes. How old was you at this stage?
I was in my early 20s, I'd say 24, 25.
Right.
And yeah, I took everything going. And so for me, it was painful because from somebody never owing anybody, all of a sudden, several £1,000s in debt. And you know, back in those days, instead of phone calls, you used to get letters. They used to send the red letters.
Yeah.
You wrote your name and there's red letters in there. And I used to get loads of them almost on a weekly basis. And so for me, it was actually quite, I don't like to use the word depressing, but that's probably the word to use because I had a lot of debt. And with the work I was doing, there was no chance of ever paying it off. And so for me, when I go on to this journey, I actually read a book in 2009, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know if either of you have read that book, Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read that book in 2009 and I thought, wow, this is a whole new world. I wonder if I could do this. And then I met my mentor in 2010, who kind of told me about money and taught me about how money works and showed me how banks make money off my money. And, you know, kind of one of the first things he said to me was, you know, God rest his soul, John Flynn, he passed away last year, April. But one of the first things he said to me was, it doesn't matter where you've come from, it's where you're going that counts.
Amen.
And because I was so, you know, just so down and out with the financial challenges I had, now for me, it's reassuring to be able to say the same thing to other people. Mm-hmm. So for anybody else who's watching this right now, either right now or later on, let me reassure you, it doesn't matter where you've come from or where you are right now. The key is knowing where you're going and aiming for that. And yeah, that's how I got involved in financial education. I needed the help myself. Yeah. So when I talk to people, I say, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I know exactly where you're at and what you're going through.
Yeah. What's really, you know, what is really so interesting is the language that you use, because you're not teaching them about necessarily just about income and outgoings and having, you know, although that I'm sure that's part of it. But there is something in what you said, which was how money works. Yeah. Which is very, very different from just saying, let's just have a, you know, let's just, you know, have a plan so you can pay off your debt. There's something else going on there, and that's really fascinating for me. Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, thank you for saying that, Marcia, because I do think that is an important part of what we do. I always say to people, money is a game. And you know, in my household, there was a time when Monday to Thursday, there was no TV coming on in our house. We used to play board games. And so I used to buy board games regularly. And what you do is when you buy a new board game, what do? You get the instructions out and you read the rules of the game. And it's exactly the same thing with money. It's a game. If you don't know the rules of the money game, guess what? You're not going to win. Yeah. Those who win the money game, they know the rules. Yeah. And a lot of us were not playing by those rules, which is why we're left behind in most cases. So how money works is so important. And another book Robert Kiyosaki wrote called The Cash Flow Quadrant. He said in there, we go to school to learn how to work for money. We don't learn how to get money working for us.
Absolutely.
And I think that is what we're all missing, getting that money working for you rather than against you.
Yeah, yeah. So how can we get there? And, you know, it's all right. You said you were 24 and you've got all these cards thrown at you. So what can we do then to educate people? Do we need to get into schools or colleges, universities, first of all? Because people need to know about their priority bills, first of all, that everybody has got to pay their priority bills. Yeah. So do you think that would be a good idea to get into schools? And
yeah, I do think getting into schools is a good idea. And interestingly, our organization, my company that I work with, we're actually putting a program together now where we're doing it for children and schools and going into schools. I personally don't really get involved in that. What we do is we educate adults. Yeah. Part of the challenge is if my 12-year-old came home and said he wanted to teach me about money, my first question would be, what bills do you pay to teach me about money? So as adults, we don't really listen to our children much. So we'll teach them. However, we believe if you teach the parents and you can pass it on, then you're doing. So for me now, when I look at my 14 and 16-year-old, I always say to people, they know more about money now than I did 10 years ago. Yeah. And they could possibly school and study a lot of adults. So I've learned it and I've been able to pass it on. Now there's much more for them to learn, but they know more now than I did so many years ago. So we believe in teaching the adults, but we've got a program as well where we're teaching the children. So we've got a charity that we support, and we give them programs, we give them stuff to do to go and teach the young people in schools.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. The education is important, and starting from the foundation, you know, what is the foundation, and then building up on that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can I ask Sam, what does that look like? Is it just you know, when we're teaching children in school, are we just teaching them about incomes and incomes and outgoings?
Well,
More than that.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. I think a lot of people don't understand that it starts off with a plan.
Right.
For me, that is probably the most important thing. So what is your goal? What is your plan? Money is not just, oh, it's coming in as good. What is your goal for your money? What is your plan for your money? Where do you want to be 5, 10, 15 years from now? You know, you're earning £5,000 a month. What's your plan for that £5,000? So even when we're teaching these young people and anybody we teach, we always start off with the plan. What goals do you have? Because if you don't know where you're going, how will you know when you get there?
Yeah.
You don't.
Absolutely.
So it's really important that you start off with the plan. Where are you going? And so it's the same thing, just like we teach the adults, we teach what are your goals, what are your plans, and then we go through, you know, just understanding money, knowing how banks make money off your money. You know, I talk to adults and they think they've got £5,000 in savings, they believe it's in the vault, and the bank is keeping in the vault, but they're not. They're using your money. So really it's understanding how do they make money off your money? And if they can make money off your money, why can't you make money off your money yourself?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
So what do you think? Because, right, just think, when I can't remember what age, but one of my jobs I went into, and I was in my 20s, and they said to me, right, you need to get a pension, not really understanding money fully myself, but you need to get yourself a pension, you need to, and I was like, I'm too young for a pension, I'm in my 20s, but yes. I signed up for that, and, I've got a pension and everything, but is that the best way to go then, to get a pension, and, because is that the best thing to do?
So the pension is great. And if you do have a pension, I think for us, it comes down to what we said about planning. So retirement is not really about the money you have. It's not about your age, sorry. It's about how much money you actually have. So if I had, and something we do is we give you something called a financial independence number. And this number is how much money you need to have in an account that means you never have to work again in your life. And that will just generate an income for you. So as a young person, yes, a pension is great, and you need to start putting something aside and planning for that eventually. So really, it's understanding, when do you want to stop working? How far do you want to go? So I talk to people, they say, I want to stop working by 50. Great. How much money do you need to have in an account by 50 that you never have to go and work again? Do you need to be mortgage free? You get me? So it still comes down to the plan. And then based on your plan, some people prefer pensions. Some people prefer investments, whereby you can stick your money in an investment account and you generate some income. Some people believe in property, buying a portfolio of property and deciding that, when I get to this age, then I'll sell one or two and I'll generate a passive income from that. So it really does come down to, again, what do you want? Where do you want to go? What would you like to see for yourself? And then once you've got that plan, then you can make it happen.
Wow. Okay.
So just the pension is not enough, or having a pension is knowing this is where I want to go. This is what I want to see. I want to stop working at 45. There's nothing wrong with that, but you need to start working towards it now and have a plan to get there at 45.
So age is important then, because then you're saying if you want to stop working at 45, 50, then you've got to start planning from 20 years before, so you're ready for the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
But what a lot of people think is they don't start thinking about retirement or pensions
No.
until they're in their 50s.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's a bit too late.
And that's how we've been conditioned, though.
Yeah.
We've been conditioned to have the job, the day, you know, the 9 to 5 for forever and a day, and then you get to sort of like 65 or 60, and then your pension, and you've arrived. That's what we've that's what we've been told. And actually, you know, with people, and the thing is, people sometimes don't understand, or at least certainly for me, you know, I didn't understand that, you know, like certain jobs that I've had, just like what Leslie was saying earlier. I remember as a nurse, you know, as a student nurse, people coming in to talk to us about things like pensions, and I was like, man, I need that money now, you know. You know, and you don't think about that, and then it's upon you. Or, you know, I can think of jobs where I've only worked part-time, so I've not worked full-time, and I'm not going to pay into no pension right now, because guess what, I'm working part-time and I had my kids, I was a single parent, I need the money now. So the education wasn't there. You know, and that kind of leads me on to something else, not necessarily the pension as well, but also insurance.
But when you think about what you just said about the age, again, I always want people to remember that retirement age used to be 60 or 65, 68. But part of the reason for that and the history of that is that the life expectancy back in those days was what? 70, maybe 72. So they expected you to work till you're 60, then you die, what, 10, 15 years later? You know what I mean? That is the history. That's why the age for retirement was 60, because the life expectancy wasn't too much longer than that. So again, it's the thinking about all those things, and you know, how much longer, you know, we're all living till we're 90 these days. A lot of people are anyway. So again, it's thinking about there's so much history there that we just don't think about.
So people have still got time then in their, you know, if they want to retire, I don't know, they come to you at 40 and they want to retire at 55, they've still got time to get all their finances together, get the plan drawn out. Is that something what you do? You draw the plan out for them, then work with them to work towards getting those goals.
So it's possible. It is possible. However, you've got to put the work in.
And when you say you've got to put the work in, what does that look like?
All right. So for me now, I've said I wanted to. So I go on to this journey. I was just turning 40, and my goal is to really be able to stop or not having to go to work by 55. I set this 10 years ago. For people that know me, I put the work in. It's as simple as that. I'm a grafter, and I do what I need to do, because 5 years from now, I want to be financially independent. Some people say they want that, but they're not willing to put the work in. Now, when I say put the work in, it's not just working 9 to 5 and working 70 hours a week. It's putting things in place. Like if you said, okay, the way I want to do this is I want to invest. I want to have a portfolio. The hard work in that is every money you make, you put it into your investment pot. You don't blow it, you don't party, you don't go and buy expensive designer stuff, which is not going to put any money in your pocket. You know what I'm trying to say? That is where the work comes in. If you say you want to do it through a business, so that's my way. I left my job because I knew the job was not going to give me enough to be able to achieve my goals. So I left my job and invested in my business, and I work hard at it. So that is where the hard work comes in. If you say you want to retire at 55, but you're still partying and drinking and blowing your money, it ain't gonna happen.
No.
So that's where the work comes in. It's possible, but you've got to follow your plans through. And that's what we do. We give you a plan that says, this is where you need to be. Now, this is what you need to do to achieve that. And then it's up to you. But it's just amazing whereby if I give 10 people a plan, unfortunately, I'll probably say maybe 2 or 3 would follow that plan to the letter.
Right, okay.
Even though they get there, unfortunately, a lot of people just, they want it like that. But nothing ever happens like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a mindset thing, isn't it? I remember, and one of the things that I remember when I took early retirement, when I was having a conversation, and it was scary because, you know, for me it was a scary thing to be, you know, to do, to think about taking early retirement. And I probably did not have everything in place that I would have liked to have had in. So for me, it was a leap of faith as well, you know, as well as everything else. But one of the things that I remember the pension person at work said to me, his words to me were, the pension is designed to keep you in work. That's what he said. And I remember finding that so shocking. It shocked me. What's the point then? You know, everybody's killing themselves to, oh, my pension at blah blah time. And I think that was one of the things that really kind of did it for me. It was like, you know what, I'm going to come off this, you know, the hamster wheel now, and just go forward and live my dream, do the things that I've set out to do. And I'm not advocating that everybody go and do that, but what I'm saying is, you know, there has to be a plan, just like you're saying, Samuel. There needs to be, have a plan, have a, you know, why do you, you know, like a why do you want to, what is it that you need to do? Why would you want to do that? And have something to aim for. And I think sometimes we kind of just go about life. I know for a fact for myself, I'm just aimlessly going through, you know, there isn't necessarily a big, you know, end result that I want. It was just like, oh, you know, as I'm going through life, I've got this job. Oh, I've got this job, you know, that pays a bit more money. Oh, I've got that one that pays a bit more money. But there was no plan necessarily. So you really see where you were going.
Yeah, a little exercise I give to people that say, I've got a pension pot, is I always say, ask your pension person or your HR person, if you were to retire at the pace that you're going to be retiring now, how much will you get on a monthly basis and for how long?
Yeah.
So
and it's not
for
much.
everybody on the call who might be listening now or watching this, if you have a job and you've got a pension, contact them and say, you know what, when do I retire officially? And they'll probably say 68, although it's going up to 70. And then ask them, how much will I get every month at retirement, going as it is right now? And then how long are you going to get it for? And then you need to think about, are you going to be mortgage free if you have a mortgage? So are you going to keep on paying rent, gas, electricity, water? Are you going to be driving? Would you want to go on holiday every now and again? Are you going to be involved in any hobbies or anything like that? And then think about how much further that money is going to take you on a monthly basis. That's a little exercise to go and do. Just call your HR person and ask them.
But
when you're thinking about pensions.
Don't your pension depend on how much you've actually been earning? So if you're on a salary, just say for 30,000 a year, and you've been paying into this pension for the last 20 years, that is still not going to be enough to keep you for when you retire, what you paid into that pension.
I mean, again, it depends on the organization you work for. So, I mean, I was a civil servant, and I know that we had a good, decent pension because I was contributing and my employer was contributing as well, which was great. And what happened later on was the company or the government then try to change it, because I was getting, you know, I signed up to a great pension thing, but then they realized they were contributing too much. So they then tried to get everybody to change it so that they wouldn't have to contribute that much.
Wow.
You get me? So again, for new people who've just started working, the pension contributions compared to 15, 20 years ago is not as great as it used to be.
Yeah.
That happened with the NHS one as well.
Yeah.
So it just depends really, but it all starts with the plan. Your financial life starts with the plan. If you don't plan it, that means you're working to other people's plans. If you don't plan it yourself, that means you're relying on your employer to plan for you. And I'd like to ask you, what kind of plan do they have for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it ever going to be as good as what you will have for yourself?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. Marcia, have we got any messages?
I cannot see anything on here yet.
Let's
but
have a look.
I'm not sure what's I might have to refresh it because I've not seen anything.
I mean, since we're talking about plans, you know, like I always say, it's always a lot of people have plans, and again, it's thinking about, I don't know if you've done this before, where you're talking about SMART goals. You know, what goals do you have? You know, are your goals, are they specific?
Yeah.
You know, you want to go to the moon. For me, you know, that's not exactly a great plan. But having a specific plan, what goals do you have? A measurable goal, achievable, you know, do you have a dream board? I love our dream board. We got one together as a family about 8-9 years ago as a family, and we all sat down, we drew, with my boys, they cut out pictures from Disney magazine, and they cut out, and we cut out pictures as well, and we put it on the dream board, and it's up in my bedroom, you know, and just being able to see that on a daily basis, it's great, because as we achieved one thing, we just crossed it out. We crossed it out. And not just mine, but my boys as well, and my wife. And you know, it's really good to see us taking everything off and adding new stuff with time.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if you do have a goal, is it written out?
Yeah.
Is it up on the wall?
I think that's really good, because it's like you put it out there to the universe. So yeah, so that's really good. And I've definitely got a vision board. I definitely believe in all of that. But I've just got to go back to something you said about mortgages. So mortgage free. So how can you get your mortgage? How can you be mortgage free? How can you do that?
There's different techniques that we teach. Now, some banks will accept it, some won't. But we teach something called the fortnightly repayment option. Now, what this basically is that a lot of people pay their mortgage monthly. And that's how we've all been brainwashed or set up to do that. Now, one of the things that we teach people is to pay their mortgage every 2 weeks. So let's assume your mortgage is £1,000 a month. If you paid your mortgage every month for a year, you're paying 12 months in the year. That's assuming there's 4 weeks in a month. 12 times 4 is 48. But we know there's 52 weeks in a year. So where's the extra 4 weeks gone? It's just disappeared. Now, when you pay a mortgage every fortnight, instead of paying £1,000, pay 500 on the 14th, 500 14 days later, and then every 14 days, pay £500. What you find out is in the year, you're actually paying 13 months instead of 12.
Right. So you're not saying pay more. You're saying if your mortgage is £1,000 for the month and you've got that date going out on, I don't know, the 1st of each month,
yes,
just cut that in half and pay it twice.
Yes.
And that'll make a big difference.
Now, the difference is sometimes some banks, what they do is the first thing that happens is you're overpaying by an extra month in the year. That's the first thing. The second thing is a lot of banks, a lot of organizations that lend money, they calculate your interest on a daily basis, and then they add it at the end of the month, and then you pay your mortgage then. However, if you pay the first 2 weeks that you pay, you're actually paying more towards your capital. So that when the interest is calculated later in the month, it's not as much, and you find yourself actually paying a lot more of the interest than if you paid it on a monthly basis. Now, not all banks accept this. Not all financial houses accept this, but how would you know if you don't ask?
Yeah, that's a really good tip, that actually.
Yeah, find out.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
What you might need to do is you might need to set up a standing order.
Yeah.
And just ask your financial institution which account your mortgage goes into.
Yeah.
And then ask them about that.
Yeah, I am.
So really, being mortgage, I mean, again, there's different. I was talking to a gentleman yesterday, no, on Friday, and he was saying, well, I don't want to pay my mortgage off because I'm only paying 1.5%. And if I put my money in some investments, I'll get more than that. And that's fine. But I've come across people that are paying 4% on their mortgage. Those people need to pay it off quickly.
Yeah.
So really, everybody is different, which is why, personally, I think sitting down with somebody like myself, going through your personal finances and helping you with a plan makes a massive difference for each individual person, because it's all different for different people.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Marcia, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I was just checking for the comments. So there's sort of greetings, you know, Sam, Samuel. I think Lady Free said that, you know, we've all fallen trapped to the banks, giving us cards and loans. And she also goes on to say that she does that. She pays hers fortnightly, her mortgage as well.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
And she just asked her, you know, have you seen a difference? Has it made a difference? You know, because this saves people 4 to 5 years on their mortgage. Sometimes more, depending on how long you, maybe at the beginning of your mortgage or how much interest you're paying. It does save you a lot of money.
Right.
And time.
So there's Lady Fee, you can answer that. That'd be great. You know, have you noticed a difference?
I mean, I've had people join my organization, and I've had people I've been educating on this, and they've put it in place. And I've got a call a year or two later saying, Sam, you won't believe this. It's just falling off, just coming off quickly. So for some people it works, for some it doesn't. It depends on the financial company you're using. Some of them don't like it. So yeah, it's different for everybody.
It's like that. It's like a rolling thing, isn't it? Compound.
Yeah, the compounded interest. Yeah. The thing is, what you need to understand is a lot of these financial institutions, they're businesses.
Yeah.
So your financial freedom is no priority for them. The longer they keep you in debt, guess what? The better for them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
The longer you stay in debt, they tell you to pay the minimum. And like I said, I had a store card that was like a bane of my life for many years. It was 30-something% interest, and I was just paying the minimum for years. It was like, what, £6-7 a month. That's nothing. Not realizing that and I could have paid it off, but I just didn't understand.
Yeah.
And so I kept on paying these £6-7 a month, not realizing that was the plan. They want to keep you in that debt forever. If they can, they'll keep your children in it as well.
It's really bad.
Wow.
It's a business. It's a business. That's what businesses do. So I don't fault them. I fault us for not getting that education.
Yeah. And
Lady Fee says that she definitely has seen a difference. She's paying less interest, So she has definitely noticed a big difference. And Heather Nesbitt says she pays her mortgage monthly and pays a bit more on top.
Yes.
Should she be dividing the amount and paying the full amount fortnightly, is what she's asking.
I think the key really is she's overpaying already, and that is the key there. Just overpay. Don't pay what they tell you to pay.
Okay.
Some of them allow you to pay 10% of the extra. Pay as much as you can.
Okay.
The key is to clear it as quickly as possible, especially if your interest is high and you're not putting your money somewhere else so that you're getting a better interest. I would just get rid of it.
Right. Where's the best place then to invest your money? You know?
That's a loaded question. I'm sorry, I am not answering that one.
Well, we've got our properties, we've got our homes, we've got our mortgage, and then, you know, do you get bonds? Do you get premium bonds, or, you know?
Again, it's a great question, but it depends on different people. You know, I work with experts. I'm not an investment expert. I'm not a mortgage expert. I just know a little bit about finance. I've got experts that I work with, and what they will do is, if it comes to, you know, you talk to them, they've got all this series of questions that they ask you, and based on your responses, it gives you a rating of between 1 to 9, I think, 1 to 10. And if you're on a high, it means your attitude to risk is high. So they will offer you higher risk yielding investments. If your attitude is low, then, you know, they'll give you options as well.
Right.
And I think those would be the right people to talk to. So I can't specifically say put in property or put in bonds and shares. Everybody's different.
Yeah.
And I think that's where talking to an expert really comes in, because then, you know, this is what they do day in, day out. They can help you.
Right. And you know, when people get in touch with you, is this all private, confidential? Because, you know, not a lot of people, well, I don't know, people don't really like to talk about their finances, you know, because it's personal, you know, and sometimes it can be very stressful as well, you know, opening up and, you know, talking to a stranger about that. So what's the procedure? How do you do that?
So my company, we're FCA regulated. If you don't know the FCA, that's the Financial Conduct Authority. So they regulate and they overlook our company, making sure that we're doing everything according to the law. We're GDPR compliant, so everything we discuss is confidential. It stays between us. You know, we don't record the conversations we have. I don't tell anybody else your business because I am a professional. And so, yeah, so that is secure. There's no problem with that. Yeah, just having the FCA regulation and being, just having that FCA over us.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about your banks, your insurance companies, they're all FCA regulated.
Right.
And so we're exactly the same thing. You know, I've done this for family, for friends, for all sorts of people. It's one of the things we train our people on, you know, make sure that people can trust you. And yeah, because we understand that talking about finance is never, ever easy.
No.
And, you know, you're right. People don't like talking about it, but we do need to talk about it because we spend money every day. Everybody on the call right now, you're spending money as we speak.
Yeah.
Because you're paying for the lecky.
Yeah. Got a question for you, Sam.
Yes.
Heather Nesbitt, she says she's got 3 pension pots. Would you keep them separate or put them together?
Again, I will speak to an expert. And I'm happy to try and refer you to an expert you can talk to about that. The reason being depends on where those different pots are coming from. Now, I've gone with the civil service. I was there for 18 years. I'm not likely to take it out. But I was also with the post office for about 3 years. I've been with different companies over the years. I did 2 years here, 3 years here, 1 year there. I might bring those together. So really, it depends on each individual person.
Right.
So, Ebra, sorry, I'm sure that's not what you want to hear, but if you wanted to talk to an expert, have a chat with an expert, let them know which ones you have. Some of them, it might be worth just taking it out. Some of them, it might be worth just leaving it there, letting them generate the income for you and generate your future portfolio.
Yeah.
Sorry, I hope that helps. Everybody's different.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And sometimes if you don't work for that company, right, and if you've reached a certain age, you can take that money out anyway, and then you could invest that into, I don't know, property or premium bonds or something like that, rather than just.
No, it's yours. You can do what you want. However, the challenge then is that company, what are they doing with your money? If they're actually investing it and getting more money for you, and you took it out, are you shooting yourself in the foot?
Right.
The property you buy, are you likely to rent it? Would your renters pay the, everything has its own challenges. People rent a property and they trash it and they disappear. There's challenges with everything, which is why I think you do need an expert to talk to. It makes a massive difference.
And how can people get in touch with you, Sam? Because
my email address, I can, I've got an email address. I'll put it in the
comments, Facebook comments.
Okay. I'll stick it up. I'll write it in here now. And then maybe you can transfer it. I'll just put it in the chat box. So my email address is samuel.leigh@genistar, which is GENISTAR.org.
Excellent.
My phone number is 07939 564 998.
No,
happy to chat either or, give me a call. Everything we discuss is confidential. It doesn't matter where you are in the UK. Thank God for Zoom. We can help anybody right now, so not a problem.
Can I ask you, Sam?
Yes.
Life insurance. That's a thing that I think is quite close to my heart, in the sense that I remember somebody saying to me, might have even been myself, I can't remember, but life insurance is it's not about us, it's about those that we are leaving behind. So it's like leaving a legacy for our for our loved ones. People tend to think it's just about burying us, but it's not, is it?
One of my colleagues that I work with, he said something. He said that life insurance, you don't buy life insurance because you're going to die, but because those you love are going to live. And that's really what it's all about. I've got some American colleagues, and they actually don't call it, they call it life insurance, but they also call it income protection.
Okay.
And one of the reasons why they say that is this. Let's say you've got a couple, they're both bringing in 2.5 every month, £2,500, which is £5,000 a month. On a monthly basis, they're spending on mortgage, on nursery, on car finance, on whatever. They're spending usually nearly £5,000, because most of us, what we bring in is what goes out. Sometimes even more goes out than what comes in.
Absolutely.
But then let's just say one of them passes away. So the partner is still earning 2.5. However, £5,000 is still going out. Where does that come from? So for me, life insurance is what we call the foundation of your financial house. Okay, if you're going to build a house, your foundation has to be solid. The Bible talks about, sorry if you're not a Bible person, but it talks about, build your house on rock and you'll stand, building on sand and you'll crumble. And for us, foundation of your financial house is life insurance.
Right.
Because if you were to pass away right now, what would happen to your household? And I've seen it too many times where people, you know, GoFundMe. I did something with my team a few weeks ago. We went on to one of these GoFundMe, and just go to GoFundMe and type in funerals. That's something for you to do. Go to GoFundMe and type in funerals. There's nearly 400,000 hits.
Wow.
That came up when we did it a few months ago. And usually when we pass away, especially us, Black people, the only people that make money is the funeral directors and GoFundMe. Because the money you generate from there, they get a percentage.
Wow.
So the only people that make money are the funeral directors and GoFundMe. Our families are left in a mess.
Mm.
So for us, it's so important to sort out the foundation of your financial house. It starts with that. Doesn't matter how much debt you have, starts with your foundation. Are you protected? That's your risk management.
Yeah. And so I think that's so important.
Absolutely. And also you're leaving a little bit of a legacy for your loved ones.
Children.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's wealth generation. Yeah.
It is wealth generation. Yeah. Instant wealth for those.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if your great-great-grandfather left £1 million. Where would you be now? I'll be in the Caribbean.
I'll be in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I'll be there with you, like partying.
I'll tell you that now. But yeah, you know, for me, it's not about, you know, I want to create generational wealth. I want to leave a legacy behind. If the Lord takes me home before my time, I know my children can keep going to the school they're going to. I know they're not going to have to pay for any university fees. You know, a lot of our children are coming out of university £40,000 in debt. I don't. If I can avoid it, I will help them as much as possible. I know my wife; they can continue living in the house we're living without having to move. You know, I know they're not going to have to go and beg anybody for money to bury me. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer.
Wow, it has been so interesting talking to you, Samuel. It really has.
Thank you,
honestly,
Leslie.
I am so inspired by everything you're saying. Marcia, go ahead, Marcia.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. It's Heather. I just want to say as well. She said that she is looking for a reputable advisor, and it's been difficult. So she said she's asked around and no joy. So shall I? So
yes,
Heather, get in touch with Samuel.
Yeah. We will leave his details in the comments so you can get in touch with Samuel and he'll advise you. Okay.
Yeah, no worries.
No, that's brilliant.
Thank you, Heather.
Yeah, so have we got any more questions? Is that it?
That was it, yeah.
Wow. Sam, and is anything else that you would like to add? I can't believe the time.
I know.
It just goes so quickly.
Anything to add? I think for me is just action. A lot of us talk a good talk, but we don't do anything. And if there's anything that really disappoints me more than anything else, is that we do all this talk, we say all these things, and then when it comes down to it, people can't be bothered to do anything about it. And for me, that's the one thing, you know, I always say action, you know, you're acting on what you've heard. And it's just important. If you're going to do it, just do it. Procrastination, you know, bury our heads in the sand. So that's the one word I'm going to leave you with, action. Get a plan in place for where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's so true. Well, I'm taking action because I would like to be mortgage free. That is my goal, to be mortgage free.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. But thank you so much, Samuel, for joining us today. So well appreciated. I knew you'd be absolutely fantastic. I think it's a brilliant subject, what we actually need to keep talking about. And if you've got any questions, or you didn't want to ask the questions while you're on the platform, we will be leaving Samuel's details in the comments. So, and please share this video, share it for somebody else, because I'm sure there's somebody else who would like to know what we're talking about. So please like it and share it on to somebody else. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, everybody, for asking questions and being a part of the conversation today. I really do appreciate it. So thank you for that. And Marcia, have you got anything else you'd like to say before we go?
There is just so much actually that we could talk about.
Absolutely.
So much on the subject.
Yeah.
You know,
Big subject.
more time.
Yeah.
We should have more time. But I want to just say, you know, thank you so much, Samuel. It's been really fascinating.
Absolutely.
And what I would say, and it's a very, very important issue. We've really, especially as a community, we need to get on top of this. We need to get on top of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, thank you. And thank you, everybody. And we will see you next week, Sunday at 5 o'clock. We have an amazing woman guest speaker with us, and we're talking about her life as a midwife. Yeah, so very, very interesting subject. I'm looking forward to that. So we will see you next week, Sunday at 5 o'clock. And remember, like and share. Don't be shy. Like and share. And you want to ask us any questions, please get in touch. But we will see you next week, Sunday, the 3rd of October. Wow. See you all then. Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.